What happened to Eddie Levert at 84? Try not to cry when you see this. Eddie Levert and the band TheOJays are famous names associated with explosive and mesmerizing soul music, which once guided the emotions of an entire generation of audiences. You will be shocked to hear their story about the tear-filled hidden corners and the ultimate heartbreaking tragedies behind the brilliant halo. This left the entire United States in absolute shock. We are our memory vault, your companion in this video. If you have any details to contribute, please do not hesitate to leave a comment below so we can improve every day. Do not forget to press the subscribe button, the like button, and turn on the notification bell to be the first to watch our latest videos. The beginning of his singing career. Born in Bessemer, Alabama in 1942, young Eddie Levert soon faced the hardships of a turbulent era. When his family decided to move north, settling in Canton, Ohio, no one could have imagined that this journey would be a turning point that forever changed the history of American music. For the black communities of that time, life was always surrounded by the daily struggle to make a living, but they possessed a priceless gift: faith and music. The church was not just a place to pray, but a true artistic sanctuary that nurtured souls and sheltered small dreams. It was in that sacred space that Eddie had his very first encounters with gospel music, a genre that demands complete devotion in both technique and emotion. The powerful, profound gospel melodies quickly seeped into young Eddie's flesh and blood. He not only learned how to sing on beat, but also learned how to convey pain, hope, and fierce desire into every single note. The weekend choir sessions unintentionally honed a warm, powerful, and iconic baritone voice that would later belong to Eddie. The techniques of vibrato melisma, or the way he poured his soul into a song that millions of American audiences later adored, actually originated from the days he stood in the church choir. Gospel music taught him a priceless lesson. Singing is not just about making sounds, but about how you tell a story from the bottom of your heart to touch the hearts of others. From the perspective of our memory vault, we believe that this gospel music foundation not only shaped Eddie Levert's artistic style, but also acted as an anchor that saved his life during the storms that followed. If it were not for those years steeped in faith and the comfort from gospel, perhaps Eddie would not have had enough inner strength to shoulder the heartbreaking tragedies in his twilight years. Gospel gave him a solid spiritual weapon, turning music into the safest refuge when the outside world became too harsh. That foundation was more valuable than any recording contract he ever obtained. In the dusty heart of Canton City, music not only gave Eddie a path, but also gifted him a great soulmate, Walter Williams. The two boys, sharing a passion for singing, quickly found a harmony in their souls and began to sing their first melodies together. Initially, they were just a small gospel duo performing with the instinct and pure joy of youth. However, when the notes of Eddie and Walter blended together, people recognized a true miracle. Eddie's powerful, intense vocals were perfectly balanced by Walter's smooth, soothing voice. They learned to listen to each other's breathing, learned to step back so the other could shine, and most importantly, learned to absolutely trust their companion. This bond did not come easily. It required hours of relentless, disciplined practice. In cramped rooms, through sleepless nights, they constantly tweaked every harmony section to make it as perfect as possible. For teenagers growing up in less than affluent circumstances, singing gradually moved beyond the boundaries of a normal hobby. It became a life-changing aspiration, a serious job requiring the complete dedication of their strength. Eddie and Walter promised each other that no matter how bleak the future might be, they would never give up this dream. It was this strong commitment from those nameless days that forged the bravery of a future legend, helping them keep their feet firmly on the ground. We truly believe that in an entertainment world full of envy and fragile relationships, the friendship between Eddie and Walter is a rare gem. Fully devoted to each other for over 60 years, they proved to all of America that true brotherhood always exists brilliantly. If Walter had not stood by his side to share the invisible pressures, perhaps Eddie's voice would have lost half of its vitality. The humble beginning of this duo is the clearest proof of the truth. The greatest things often stem from the most sincere handshakes during difficult times. The real turning point began in 1958, when Eddie Levert and his high school friends decided to take a giant step forward on their artistic path. Inspired by explosive television performances, they gathered together to form an official music group. The initial lineup brought together passionate young men ready to exhaust themselves for music. However, the road to success in the entertainment industry is never flat. Throughout their first decade, they struggled to find their footing, performing on the smallest stages, from empty nightclubs to modest local venues. They constantly had to change their name, going through many obscure titles before officially settling on the fateful name TheOJays. This period was an extremely harsh test of the group's endurance. Many times they released singles only to have them completely fade into oblivion, failing to resonate as expected. The group's members constantly changed due to financial pressures. Opportunities opened up and then vanished, leaving behind countless disappointments. There were times when the dream seemed to have reached a dead end, but Eddie Levert firmly held his ground on the stage. Thousands of hours singing to the indifference of crowds did not discourage him. On the contrary, it trained the group to have extraordinary resilience. They understood from the bottom of their hearts that glory is never reserved for those who easily step back. From our channel's analytical perspective, we deeply admire the resilience of Eddie and the OJs during this long, dark period. Many generations of American audiences later only saw the blinding camera flashes, but rarely does anyone understand the bitterness of more than 10 years of being nameless and unrecognized. Their beginning story is a valuable lesson about the unyielding spirit of rising from the mud. The birth of the OJs was not a miracle falling from the sky, but was paid for with youth and sweat on the darkest stages. That arduous beginning built an indestructible foundation for their music empire later on. The peak of fame with the OJs. The greatest turning point in the careers of Eddie Levert and his brothers was the historic meeting with two master producers, Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff, stepping into the Philadelphia International Record Studio in the early 1970s. The OJs were not simply looking for a new home to release songs, but they were unintentionally laying the foundation for a completely new golden era of American soul music. These talented producers immediately recognized the surging hidden energy inside Eddie's powerful voice. They knew how to mold, refine, and put the band in the right position to shine brightly, turning over a decade of weary waiting into a launchpad for a world-class name. This collaboration created a unique sound, deeply imbued with the breath of the times, harmoniously combining catchy melodies with profound social messages. Eddie Levert, with his majestic baritone voice, breathed life into every arrangement, making listeners clearly feel the boiling passion, the restlessness, and the desire for freedom. The record label not only provided a professional studio, but also opened a giant door leading directly to the hearts of millions of music lovers across the United States. The pressures of making a living gradually faded away, making room for the ultimate artistic sublimation, where each member felt that their relentless efforts had finally been fittingly rewarded. We believe that this fateful handshake is the clearest evidence showing how powerfully talent can explode when it meets the right opportunity and the right people. Without the strategic vision of Philadelphia International Records, perhaps Eddie Levert's artistic values would have been buried in oblivion. This collaboration was not just purely commercial, but it shaped a musical style of historical stature, helping black music assert its unshakable, solid position in the international music market. The 1970s witnessed the spectacular explosion of the OJs as a series of hit songs were sequentially released and dominated all prestigious music charts. Opening this resounding streak of success was the iconic hit, "Backstabber's a Song," with an extremely catchy melody, but hiding a sharp message about betrayal and the hidden corners of social relationships. Immediately after, the joyful, positive, energy-filled melody of Love Train quickly spread far and wide, becoming a true anthem about human solidarity and hope. Not stopping there. For the Love of Money brought a deeply sarcastic yet extremely realistic perspective on the dominating power of money in modern life, making anyone who listens stop and reflect. Every song produced during this era was like a tornado sweeping through all entertainment venues, elevating Eddie Levert's name to the ranks of America's biggest stars. His voice was no longer just a performance tool, but had become the representative voice for the thoughts, feelings, and struggles of the vast working class in society. The group's music overcame all barriers of geographical distance or race, connecting millions of hearts together through every mesmerizing soul melody. Audiences do not only remember them through sparkling gold or platinum records, but they also deeply engrave in their minds the intense emotions that the band delivered through every single note. We are incredibly impressed by the enduring vitality of these classic masterpieces, because even after many decades, the human values they bring remain as intact as day one. Those songs not only helped TheOJays reap immense commercial success, but also turned them into the people who shaped the face of classic soul music. Eddie Levert proved that music coming from the heart will definitely touch the heart, leaving behind a priceless artistic legacy that subsequent generations of young artists must always admire and learn from. The glorious peak in Eddie Levert's career was finally recognized in the most complete way in 2005 when TheOJays were officially inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This was not simply a souvenir trophy or a noble title awarded by professionals, but it was the ultimate acknowledgement for a journey of relentless dedication spanning decades. Standing on that podium of fame, looking back at the long, thorny path from the early days of singing gospel in the South to the most spectacular stages in the world, Eddie had every reason to be proud of what he had built. This historic event was the freshest flower, closing a glorious chapter in his illustrious music career. The recognition from the Academy brought an incredibly special emotion for both the band and the millions of loyal fans who had stood by them through all the ups and downs. It was a well-deserved tribute to the sweat, the sleepless nights in the recording studio, and the heavy mental pressures that the artists had to endure behind the stage's halo. The moment the group's name was called out thrilled countless generations of audiences who loved soul music across America, affirming a truth that real talent and ultimate perseverance will always receive absolute respect from time. From our Memory Vault's perspective, being named in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is the highest reward for Eddie Levert's extraordinary bravery. This title does not only belong to him individually or the members of the group, but it is also a symbol of the fierce vitality of black soul music. Looking back at that journey, we respect even more an artist who used his whole life to serve art, turning years of hardship into immortal epics that live forever in the hearts of the music-loving public. The tragedy of losing two sons. The life of an artist, no matter how high they stand on the peak of glory, cannot avoid the harshest and most painful rules of fate. For Eddie Levert, the first massive shock that crashed down on his family was the sudden and tragic passing of his talented eldest son, Gerald Levert. In November 2006, while at the absolute prime of his singing and songwriting career, Gerald suddenly passed away, leaving boundless mourning for millions of fans across America. This heartbreaking event was like a heavy punch to the psyche of a father who had spent his life rushing across big and small stages. Music, which used to be a joy and a bond between the two generations of the Levert family, suddenly turned into heart-piercing memories, making anyone who witnessed it choke back tears. Gerald was not merely a good son in the family. He was a true musical icon, an excellent torchbearer for modern R&B music. The fact that father and son used to stand on the same stage singing deep melodies together in hit songs was once Eddie's boundless pride. However, when death took away that outstanding son at the age of 40, the stage halo went out, giving way to an immense void that nothing could fill. The melodies that once brought happiness now became knives cutting deep into the old father's heart. Gerald's premature passing completely changed the family's life dynamic, pushing Eddie into a dark sky of loss that cannot be described in words. We are deeply empathetic and heartbroken by the ironic adversity that Eddie Levert had to endure when the white-haired parent had to bury their black-haired child. It is so unfair that an artist who spent his whole life singing about love, unity, and soothing the souls of the world had to helplessly watch his own flesh and blood pass away so tragically. The pain of losing a child is not like the ups and downs in a career. It is a bleeding wound that lasts a lifetime and never closes. This painful story is a heart-wrenching reminder of the fragility of human life, making the audience appreciate every moment of peace with their small family even more. The agonizing pain seemed to have reached the bottom of the abyss when he lost his eldest son, but fate was still not willing to let go of the unfortunate family of legend Eddie Levert. Less than 17 months after the first tragedy, another horrifying shock struck when his second son, Shawn Levert, suddenly passed away under mysterious circumstances. In March 2008, during his detention at the Cuyahoga County Jail due to legal complications related to personal financial obligations, Shawn passed away forever at the age of 39. The bad news came like a bolt of lightning, suffocating the heart of the old father who had not even begun to heal from the mourning of his older brother. The sudden passing in that cold space turned the family's pain into a prolonged nightmare with no way out. The incident quickly sparked a wave of outrage and massive controversy among the American public as the family determinedly pursued legal procedures to clarify the cause of death. The inadequacies in medical care and health services at the detention facility were brought to light, turning a personal tragedy into a long, exhausting lawsuit. For Eddie Levert, having to face sensational media news and tense court hearings while his heart was breaking was an overly cruel test. Two talented sons, two important puzzle pieces that once built the name of the famous family band, had now both turned to dust. The feeling of helplessness in the face of life's harshness kept gnawing at the soul of the old artist every single day. We believe that losing a second child in such bitter circumstances is a psychological trauma beyond the endurance of any parent in the world. That pain is not merely the separation of life and death, but it also carries resentment, injustice, and an unceasing remorse for not being able to protect his child. Eddie Levert had to go through the darkest period of his life, where stage lights or million-view hits became completely meaningless in the face of a cruel reality. This double loss shaped a tear-soaked chapter in the life of the music legend, making the American public feel deep sorrow when looking back. Behind the tears rolling down Eddie Levert's cheeks in subsequent interviews, there is also an agonizing, tormenting remorse that can never be atoned for. In the quietest moments of his old age, what pains him the most is not just the fact that his children are gone, but it is the final phone call that was never fully made. Before Gerald passed away unexpectedly, the last conversation between father and son ended with a promise to meet soon to talk and laugh like so many times before. However, cruel fate did not give them that chance, turning a casual remark into a permanent last word, separated by life and death. The belated regret of missing precious moments with his son kept engulfing the mind of the poor father. This remorse is an invisible weapon, but extremely damaging, constantly tormenting Eddie's conscience every time he remembers the busy days touring far from home. His whole life was devoted to music, to long trips, bringing songs to serve the public all over the world. Ironically, that illustrious career unintentionally stole the simplest times, with his family leaving him without enough chances to say words of love to his children more often. By the time he realized this, it was too late, as his flesh and blood children sequentially left this world, leaving behind an unfillable void. The missed phone calls and the hugs that were not given in time became an obsession that haunts him to the very final years of his life. From the channel's lens, we deeply feel that the greatest tragedy of a human life is not poverty, but the regret for things not done in time for our loved ones. Eddie Levert's heart-wrenching story is a costly wake-up call for all parents who are too busy with the cycle of making a living in society. Wealth, fame, or how great a career is will eventually fade with time. Only family affection and being present for one another are things that last forever. Eddie's remorse is a tear-soaked lesson for all of us to appreciate every present moment with our loved ones. The pain of losing his youngest daughter. When life seemed to have drifted into peaceful years in his twilight, Eddie Levert unexpectedly received a priceless gift from fate. In 2002, the birth of his youngest daughter, Ryan, in his second marriage with his gentle wife Raquel, lit a warm fire like never before in his small home. Unlike her two older brothers who were born during the time he was busy rushing across stages all over America to build his career, Ryan grew up when Eddie was in his 60s. This period gave him a completely new chance to start his fatherly role over again, to mend the shortcomings of the past, and to enjoy every simple moment of family life. The sound of a child's laughter echoing in the house dispelled some of the hardships and weariness of an artist who had weathered so many storms in life. The arrival of Ryan was the strong connecting thread that brought Eddie back to reality, where he was no longer a great music star, adored by millions, but simply a forgiving father yearning to protect his little girl. He spent a lot of time caring for and watching every step of her growth, making up for the gaps of time that Ryan's brothers never had. For Eddie, Ryan was like a warm ray of sunshine shining into a cold winter, bringing faith and hope for the days to come. This sacred bond made him feel that life was finally smiling at him, granting him a truly complete home after years of drifting on the harsh musical racetrack. From our Memory Vault's perspective, we believe this chapter was once hoped to be a fulfilling ending, a sweet redemption for Eddie Levert's busy youth. Being a father in his twilight years gave him patience and a deeper love than anything else in the world. But ironically, fate seems to love playing jokes on unfortunate lives, preparing for him the most cruel test ever in the family's history. The belated happiness turned out to be just a brief pause before a real storm swept through his life once again. However, that brief joy could not last forever in the face of the ultimate cruelty of illness and mortality. In December 2024, a terrifying tragedy struck the Eddie Levert family once again when his beloved youngest daughter, Ryan, suddenly passed away at the tender age of 22, the monstrous disease known as lupus. Along with its severe complications, took the life of a young woman standing at the threshold of a wide-open future. The sudden bad news came like a fatal knife thrust straight into the old father's heart, turning his greatest hope into ashes. Ryan's passing left a chilling, spine-tingling void in the house that was once filled with laughter, leaving the American public stunned and weeping in sorrow for this overly unjust tragedy. Ryan passed away at a very young age when her plans, dreams, and ambitions for an independent life had not yet been fulfilled. She never had the chance to experience a brilliant middle age or fully enjoy the protection of her famous father. The memory-filled pictures, the old family photos, are now just pain-cutting deep into the hearts of those left behind, especially her mother Raquel and her father Eddie. Seeing his youngest daughter permanently laid to rest at 22, Eddie felt as if the world had completely collapsed beneath his feet. That pain far exceeds any human imagination, turning a strong man who had weathered so many storms of life into someone helpless before destiny. We are extremely choked up witnessing this heart-wrenching scene, because no words can fully describe the cruelty when a father has to face such immense mourning. Ryan's passing is not just the loss of the Levert family alone, but also a warning bell about the fragility and impermanence of a short human life. All illustrious musical achievements, all prestigious medals or awards become meaningless in the face of the harsh reality that his little girl will never come back. That moment leaves behind a gloomy sorrow covering the entire remaining life of the music legend. The peak of sorrow and misfortune weighing on Eddie Levert's shoulders is the cruel reality that he had to experience the feeling of a white-haired parent burying their black-haired child up to 3 times in his life. First Gerald, then Shawn, and finally his youngest daughter Ryan all passed away forever before the helpless witness of the pitiful old father. 3 children, 3 pieces of flesh and blood born from his body, sequentially laid down across different dimensions of space and time by fate. The cruelty of destiny stripped away everything he cherished most, turning the life of a great music monument into a series of days enduring lonely pain to the very core of his soul. Looking back at the string of tragedies stretching from 2006 to 2024, one cannot help but shudder at the extraordinary endurance of a man who has lived through over 8 decades of life. Anyone else in that situation would probably have collapsed completely, giving up everything in the face of consecutive fatal blows from the Grim Reaper. Yet Eddie still stands there carrying bleeding scars on his soul that will never heal, enduring a heartbreakingly empty loneliness. This loss is not simply the absence of loved ones, but it is the complete severing of both successive generations in the family, leaving the old father alone to face the cold walls of memory. From the channel's analytical point of view, we believe that this is the greatest, most tear-soaked tragedy that no parent in this world deserves to bear. Eddie Levert spent his entire life singing songs to soothe the pain of humanity. Yet there is no song on earth that can soothe the deep wound right inside his own chest. This third pain completely crushed any illusions about the compensations of old age, leaving a lonely music monument amidst the fading halo and the mournful sigh of time. Resiliently dedicating himself to music. In the eye of the storm of heart-wrenching tragedies, when it seemed the last hope had completely extinguished in Eddie Levert's soul, destiny granted him a priceless lifeline. His gentle wife, Raquel Captain, is his strongest spiritual pillar, the shoulder that silently bears all the storms to shelter him through the darkest years of his life. Raquel's wisdom, profound compassion, and emotional stability became a solid fortress, helping Eddie stand firm after the shock of losing his children. Not only that, a fierce faith in God was rekindled, becoming a sacred source of spiritual energy that helped the old artist find rare peace in every prayer each day. Alongside his hard-working wife, the presence of his little daughter Ryan, during those years, also pulled Eddie back to his sacred duty as a father. He learned to compress his sorrow deep down, turning tears into sincere care for the loved ones still present beside him. The evenings gathered around the family dinner table, the whispered sharings or the warm hugs, gradually warmed the cold heart of a man who had gone through too much loss. Sincere love from family cannot erase the scars of the past, but it has enough power to keep him from collapsing before the abyss of total despair. Through the channel's analytical lens, we deeply respect the way Eddie Levert lifted himself up from the ashes of piled-up tragedies. His inner strength does not come from the stage's halo, but originates from maternal love, marital devotion, and a profound religious faith. Raquel is living proof that sincere love has the ability to heal spiritual wounds that seem impossible to ever close. Thanks to that solid pillar, the music legend has enough courage to continue walking on the long road ahead, through the ultimate agonies of seeing three beloved children off to the other world. Eddie Levert did not choose to forever wallow in bitterness or blame his cruel fate. Instead, in the twilight years of his life, he bravely learned to accept the harsh reality and turn bitter tears into a higher purpose in life. In emotional interviews, he once shared that there are still days he cries chokingly like a child when the unbearable longing for his children rushes in. But instead of giving up, he realized he still has a mission to keep living, to keep spreading love, and to bring positive energy to the audiences who are always waiting for his singing voice. This shift in mindset transformed Eddie from a suffering father into a living symbol of extraordinary willpower and human compassion. He uses his own traumatic experiences to understand, share with, and comfort other unfortunate souls out there. The pain of losing his children did not make him bitter. On the contrary, it fulfilled the kind heart of a great artist who has tasted all the bitterness of life. Every time he steps out into society or faces the public, he does not hide his sadness, but turns it into a massive inspiration to advise everyone to appreciate every moment spent with their family and loved ones. We deeply admire the steel bravery hidden beneath the shell of an old artist who has endured so much trauma. Accepting pain does not mean forgetting it, but learning to live with it in the calmest way to find the true meaning of existence. Eddie Levert has proven to the whole world that the most beautiful dignity of a person does not lie in never falling, but in how you stand up after the most painful fall. That new purpose in life is the solid armor protecting his wounded heart against all the storms of life. At the towering age of 84, when most people have chosen a peaceful little corner to rest, Eddie Levert still proudly steps onto the brightly lit stage. His emotional solo tours recently have eloquently proven that the flame of musical passion in his heart has never died out. The warm, powerful baritone voice of the past now carries the weight of memories of experience and of the tears that have dried on his cheeks. When he raises his voice to sing classic melodies about love and unity, the audience below is not just hearing a song, but they are listening to an entire autobiography soaked in the blood and tears of a living legend. The stage now is not simply a place to seek fame or fortune like in his youth, but it has become a sanctuary for Eddie to fulfill his mission of soothing souls. The message of peace, connection, and human love from the old hit Love Train is now delivered with a completely different depth of emotion. He sings to remember his departed children, sings to pay tribute to his gentle wife, who has always stood by his side, and sings to remind the younger generation about the sacred value of family. Every time he stands before the audience, it is as if he sheds all the burdens of old age, dedicating his absolute final breaths to art and to the fans who have loyally stood by him through many decades. From the concluding perspective of our memory vault, the image of Eddie Levert diligently singing at the age of 84 is the most beautiful and epic painting of a musical monument that never yields to fate. He has walked a long road filled with thorny roses, tasting all the ups and downs from the peak of glory to the deepest mournful abyss of human life. However, in the end, what remains in the hearts of the American public is not just unprecedented musical records, but the resilient kind and immensely forgiving heart of a great father. We send to him, the living legend Eddie Levert, our deepest respect and wishes for complete peace in the loving arms of his family in the journeys to come. You have just joined us in listening to and looking back at the glorious but also tear-soaked life of music legend Eddie Levert. Through this story, we hope you have recognized the priceless values of family affection, the appreciation of every present moment with loved ones, and the lesson of extraordinary willpower, overcoming all adversity. The Our Memory Vault channel wishes you and your family to always have very warm and happy moments together. If you find this video meaningful, please do not forget to click subscribe, press like, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next touching stories. We bid you a fond farewell and see you again in our next videos.